Hello! With the holidays starting next week, I'm thinking about the very first Thanksgiving. How much of the story do you remember? I think it goes something like this. In 1620, 102 pilgrims set sail from England in a ship called the Mayflower. There were actually two ships that started out that day, but one of them turned around before it had even left the harbor. They were radical separatists who believed that when the Anglican Church had separated from the Catholic Church a century before, they hadn't gone far enough, but had only succeeded in replacing the Pope with a king, and so they were looking for religious freedom. They intended to head to Virginia, but had taken a wrong turn in the Atlantic Ocean and ended up at Cape Cod. They named the place Plymouth because that was the name of the place in England where they had left, and so apparently they didn't want to change everything. They arrived in late December, which they really should have thought through a little bit more carefully because that first winter was really rough. Almost half of them didn't make it, and many of those who were affected were the women. So we're not the only ones who have struggled with disease. But enough of them did make it that in the summer of 1621 they were able to plant crops, and they were so grateful when the harvest came in, especially for the help of the natives, that they decided to celebrate. The first account of that celebration said that it lasted for 3 days, that it was mostly children in attendance, and only 4 married women had made it that far. I thought you'd find this interesting. It also said that 5 deer were killed for the meal, so apparently the main course was not turkey, but venison. My point is this. How many of the names of those pilgrims do you remember? As important as they were, mostly they were remembered for their gratitude. In that sense, it reminds me of the story of the 10 lepers. You can find it in the Gospel according to Luke chapter 17. 10 lepers come to Jesus, all wanting to be healed. Jesus heals all 10 of them. One comes back to say thank you, and to that one Jesus says, "Go your way, your faith has made you well." Or in other words, gratitude is a choice that we have to work at. I know this year Thanksgiving is going to be very different. Many of us will celebrate it alone. Many of our families won't be together the way that we have become accustomed. I know some people that are quarantining going into the celebrations next week, and some people that are going to get tested just to be sure. Governor DeWine says that we ought to still maintain our 6-foot distance, that we ought to serve buffet style, and that we ought to keep our windows open. And so I'd like to encourage you with this question. Will you choose to be among the 1 in 10 who is grateful? My name is Brad Olson. This is the Thursday, November 19th edition of a video series we call Alone Together. Please continue to pray for those who are infected by COVID-19. The numbers are continuing to spike. Pray for those who are on the front lines of treating those who are infected by COVID-19. They are especially at risk. Pray for our leaders as they help us to navigate our way through this time. Pray for those who are working on the vaccine. And pray for all of us as we make safe decisions so as to slow the spread. Be safe and stay well. May God bless.